Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Rhonda Farrell bringing you week 31 of Spotlight on Success 2025. And today we are talking about decision velocity, leading when the clock doesn't stop. Welcome back, champions, because your success strategist is going to share with you a big idea this week. We are living in a world where leaders are not rewarded for being perfect. They're rewarded for being precise enough, fast enough, and courageous enough to act before the window of opportunity slams shut. So for those of you who are battling your inner perfectionist, this is your call to action, what we're calling decision velocity, and it's the next frontier of your success. So just last week, headlines broke about how new global AI regulations and US compliance measures were rolling out faster than most businesses can implement them. And that's not just the US, but all over the world. At the same time, leaders are being pressured to hit new deliverables, launch ahead of their competitors, and shift direction sometimes mid-quarter. So no matter whether you're a solopreneur, a CEO of a large organization, an innovator on the rise, an entrepreneur with multiple distributed organizations all across the globe, ultimately, slow decisions cost you clients, capital, and credit. And we've got to fix that. So today's focus is on the 3 pillars of decision velocity. And number 1 is clarity beats complexity. We've all heard that the great voice of Apple is the more simple the design, the more elegant. So ultimately what we're doing is we're going to the 30,000-foot view of abstraction so that we can create our compass forward. We oftentimes get stuck thinking we need all the data, all the options, and for all the stars to align. In truth, you need 17 spreadsheets, 25 dashboards, or to hear from your third order board of advisors every day on every decision. What you need is an inner and a business compass. You need to ask yourself, what matters most right now, today, this minute, this hour, this week? Where are the trends? Where is the burning platform? How can I ride the wave to harness that for our organization's benefit and our clients' benefit, and to value what they're doing with their clients globally? What are the 1 to 2 risks that you can live with? So there is something called the decision canvas, a 1-page tool that maps options, outcomes, and ripple effects. It takes only about 15 minutes of your time, and it clears the fog really fast. We suggest you try it this week because clarity unlocks movement. If you've never seen the Decision Canvas framework, I'm happy to share it with you today. Just reach out at CEO@GBLINNOV.StratLLC.com to get your free copy, again, of the Decision Canvas. 1 page that will not only save you time, but get you into momentum so that you can 10 to 25x your results. The second pillar, collaborate to accelerate, because fast decisions don't always mean solo ones. In fact, some of the best decisions you can ever make is by not going alone, but rather through a decision pod, a tight collaboration loop of 2 to 3 people who you trust, who can gut check your ideas quickly. You set the boundaries. This is your area of expertise. How much time do we have? What do I want from you? What is the decision ultimately going to do? Does it mean we going to discover a little bit, is it a yes? Is it a no? Is it a maybe? And if it's a maybe, what do we have to do to get it to a yes or no? And what's the timing? So we set our boundaries. Maybe we have 48 hours. And after that, you're going to move out. So please remember, 80%, 70 to 80% clarity is enough to act. Perfection is just procrastination with better branding. So again, find your trusted 2 to 3 people who can look at something and help you business-wise, marketing-wise, opportunity-wise, value-wise, benefit-wise, innovation-wise, yes, no, or maybe. Pillar number 3, decide, act, debrief, repeat. So we've been taught to implement Mudo in so many different areas, over plan, over polish. But if we work from a no Mudo, no waste mindset, we can approach this as the best leaders do, with using a 4-part decision loop with your trusted set of advisors. 4-part loop. 1, decide with intention. Is this going to meet our vision? Is this going to support our mission? Is this in alignment with our strategic goals for our OKRs, for our KPIs, for our metrics and our measurements? Is it going to completely upset the apple cart, or are we just in the bullseye with this? What is the criteria you're using to get to yes, no, or maybe? That's the number one thing. Start with the end in mind. How are you going to decide? Run those scenarios through the decision-making framework, score them quantitatively if you can, and in addition to qualitatively from a gut check perspective, and see what you come up with. The next thing is, when you have a go, when you have a yes, not a maybe, but a yes, you need to act with boldness. You need to put in place the action plan, and you need to work the action plan. So you need to understand in that decision framework, how does this rack and stack with the other things that you're doing within your business? How are you going to get additional resourcing if that's what it's going to take? How are you going to get additional funding if that's going to take? Or how are you going to decelerate some of the other things you're doing so you can accelerate or amplify this? Then you need to debrief. So the part of acting with boldness is getting that intention in front of your team, in front of your executive team, in front of your workforce, in front of your customers, in front of your partners, if that's what it takes, especially if it's something new, not so that you can co-create with everyone, but when you can co-create with some, you build the buy-in, you build the momentum, and you may get funding up front to start your pilots, which will alleviate some of your resourcing constraints. So think about working with your clients, working with your customers, working with your partners in partnership to be able to co-create, to finish up that, what that might look like stage or phase 1. Then you debrief with humility. How did it go? What did we do? What did we decide? What did we do? How did it go? What can we do better? Was this a wise choice? Should it still be part of our balanced portfolio? Did we get the results that we wanted? Now, do we put more money behind it? Do we decelerate the funding? Do we accelerate the funding? Do we accelerate the resourcing, etc.? How is that doing in your strategic portfolio compared to the other things that's there? You have multiple tools that will allow you to understand what phase you're at and how that thing is doing. So sometimes your cash cows have to pay for your internal innovations until they get to the point where they are generating typically greater than that cash cow. So think about that as a phased approach, but you want to balance in order to balance your risk appropriately. And then you repeat. So decide, act, debrief, and then repeat with wisdom. That decision canvas can be harnessed and reused as often as you have innovations to look at that are viable that you want to move forward with. So it's up to you, the decision canvas, then the action plan or planning or framework that you use. And again, highly suggest it's strategic framework oriented, and then repeat as much as your resourcing and funding will allow to help you scale 10 to 25x plus. So this loop turns decision-making from what typically would be very stressful for organizational leaders and teams into your key strength. Let's not allow it to be your kryptonite, but let's instead allow it to be your gold that helps your organization hit it out of the park consistently. So there's a little mini case study, the 72-hour pivot. A tech CEO I worked with had a surprise hit. 40% of her product roadmap was impacted by new privacy law updates. She could have panicked. Instead, she launched a 72-hour decision sprint, 6-person strategy cell, morning stand-ups, evening updates, decision-making and time blocks, internal and external communication ready by day 3. She didn't just manage the crisis, she gained market trust and found a new service tier in the process. Why? Because she prioritized speed with structure over silence and stress. Take the bull by the horns, wrestle it down, and go on to your next successful rodeo. Your challenge this week, and I want you to post it online using hashtag Spotlight on Success or hashtag Global Innovation Strategies or hashtag The Success Strategist. Identify one decision you've been delaying. Create a 3-option matrix. What's the bold move? What's the safe move? What's the cost of standing still? Commit to making that decision within 48 to 72 hours, and then tag a peer, coach, mentor, invite them to do the same. So now let's take a breath and ask yourself, where are you overthinking instead of taking action? What would help you speed up? Is it clarity? Is it support? Or is it courage? Who can help you in the process without creating pauses in the progress? Write these down, journal it, or voice note it, and take your next step. So here's our final wrap up for today. Here's the deal. The future doesn't slow down. It's just speeding up to warp speed. Success doesn't wait for us to finally feel ready, because the leaders who thrive in 2025 and beyond are the ones who decide fast, learn faster, and lead forward. So let's practice this decision velocity starting today, because momentum builds mastery and boldness builds legacy. Until next time, make the move, not when it's perfect, but when it's possible. I'll see you in week 32, where we'll be talking about legacy leverage, turning what you know into what you grow. Stay bold, stay brilliant, and as always, build like your future depends on it, because it does.